This is Money Talk Radio. I'm Ellis Martin. We're going to visit now with Patrick Elliott, the president and CEO of Forte Minerals, trading on the Canadian Securities Exchange under the symbol CUAU, and in the U.S. on the OTCQB as FOMNF. Forte is committed to maximizing shareholder value through acquiring, exploring, discovering, and developing copper and gold projects in Peru. The team is composed of dedicated and qualified professionals who have a combined 215 years of experience at exploration and mining in the Americas, and a combined 60 years of successfully managing public companies. This combination of expertise accelerates the extensive connections to projects and financing. Patrick, welcome back to the program. Great to speak with you today.
Great to speak with you too.
I was looking at my phone, which everybody does all the time. I don't know how anybody gets any work done, but I was looking at my phone, and I believe it was yesterday I saw gold either touch or come close to $2,400 an ounce, which is outrageous. I think I sold my physical a little bit too soon.
No, it's been on quite the tear here as expected, and this is obviously something we've been preparing for many years by all the exploration we've been doing on copper and gold in Peru. So we're in a good position here, and I will continue to see it strengthen, both copper and gold.
When we first started speaking a few months ago, it was mainly about copper, and you made that gold acquisition very recently. I think it was in March. And I just want to say that even without the gold asset that you have in your company in Forte Minerals right now, copper is very strong and something that we use every day without even thinking about it in every single electronic device on the planet.
That's exactly right. There's substantial demand for the red metal, and there will be moving forward in the next 5 to 10 years. And I think we're seeing a nice setup for that. And there's been a lot of anticipation in the last couple of years for this drive and for these copper and gold run. It's been the focus of the company. We've been in Peru for 15 years exploring for copper and for gold. And that's why we've decided to balance the portfolio with both porphyry copper assets and high sulfidation gold. So we have a tremendous portfolio of gold and copper assets, and then we're well positioned here for the market and through this next bull market.
A colleague and friend of both of ours, Paul Gill, brought me down to Peru probably in 2007 or 2008. I can't really remember. And he took me to a project he was involved with, copper gold project. And there was a lot of copper at surface. And I think it's just an incredible country to do business. And for mining, you've been in Peru a very long time, haven't you?
Yeah, I would have been there in that same era. And the property you would have gone to was Constancia, which was discovered by one of our founders, Tom Henriksen, when he worked for Rio Tinto. And Rio Tinto felt after a couple of holes, it just wasn't quite big enough for them. So they auctioned it out to Norsemont and Paul Gill and his associates there. And they ended up finding a tremendous amount of copper in that porphyry system and a really nice higher grade skarn associated. And Hadbay has it in production today. These are the types of deposits that are prevalent throughout the southern Peru copper belt and the northern Peru copper belt as well. So lots remains to be explored and discovered. And that's why we've had a foothold in the country for the last 20 years and why we continue to come up with phenomenal projects that we develop and explore.
Now, I know that you have your ears to the wall and you're connected in the institutional area. So my next question focuses on what kind of buzz are you hearing? And this is all speculative here, audience. Completely speculative conversation right now. But what kind of buzz are you hearing with regard to the equities catching up to the commodities right now in copper and gold? When are we going to see that? I know investors want to know before they do a deep dive.
Absolutely. It's inevitable. And I think we're starting to see some pressure on some of these mid caps and some of the smaller cap resource equities. And at this point, it comes down to the better assets and which companies are better positioned in order to advance these. And I think we're going to see an exciting 2024 here in the small caps, and we're already seeing producers in the large caps, their market caps expand here with prevailing strengthening commodity prices.
Naturally, at some point, you expect some sort of takeout. We don't know when, could be a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road, and that's what everybody in our business, in your business, is hoping for. That's why you do the work you do. You develop the property, make it attractive, shine it up, put a ribbon around it, and say, hey, what do you think?
That's exactly the model there. And what we're seeing now is that the mid-tiers and the major gold, copper explorers and producers producers are looking earlier. So they're not waiting for a pre-feasibility or feasibility stage project. They're coming to the juniors now at an earlier stage, whether it's a capital injection into the equity or into the project level or an option deal, and getting far more aggressive and tying up these exploration assets for their potential future production. And so that's enlightening to see. It's often something at the start of a cycle where the majors, they have large exploration budget, a lot of business development activity going on, and we'll see more acquisitions and mergers as the cycle unfolds.
We couldn't get that kind of interest as recently as 6 months ago. Nobody would touch a project unless it was super advanced. I guess the commodity prices as of late have really kickstarted that, haven't they?
Yeah, but there's a lot of apprehension from the investment community just with the situation of the global markets. And there's a lot of problems that need to unfold with the macroeconomics still. And that's why we're seeing this apprehension and this hesitation from the retail market and the resource market in general. But now we're starting to see some larger funds get capitalized, some injection inflows of new capital come into the sector, and another key indicator that we're moving along nicely in the right direction.
And especially since copper has been added to the critical mineral space, critical metal space, it's an energy metal. That's even better for exposure for the space.
Yeah, it puts a spotlight on it. It really exemplifies how important, how critical, and how useful the metal is. There's no direct replacement for copper in price and the characteristics that copper does in electrifying and conductivity. And that's why the spotlight's on it and the demand is such for the future supply.
What are we going to see for Forte for the next few months, for the rest of this year?
We've had an exciting in getting some very key projects drill permitted in Peru. So we now have a gold project permitted that will get drilled this summer, and another porphyry copper project called Esperanza just received the drill permit several months ago. So that was a huge catalyst for us to receive those two permits. And for our other projects, we'll be doing some ground exploration, some geophysics mapping on our new gold acquisition. There's a lot of attention on that, given the historic gold grades that were discovered there in Altaruri. So we'll be moving that project forward as well on the permitting side. And yeah, lots of activity here in 2024 with some drilling of projects and some field and ground and surface exploration advancing our other assets.
Well, Patrick, it's been great catching up with you. I look forward to speaking with you sometime during the next month or two. Thanks so much for joining me today on the program.
Thanks, Ellis. Really appreciate it. It's exciting times out there, and we look forward to coming out with some exciting recent news.
I've been speaking with Patrick Elliott, President and CEO of Forte Minerals, trading on the Canadian Securities Exchange under the symbol CUAU, and in the U.S. on the OTCQB as FOMNF. Head to the company's website, forteminerals.com. I'm Ellis Martin, and this is South Florida's Money Talk Radio.